said you wanted to talk about sexual dynamics of what women bring to the table in dating and how men date down versus women dating up.
Yes. So like we spoke about this earlier. So as we discussed, like women are literally fighting for, like, I'd say the top 20% of males, you know what I mean? So income, social status, yada, yada, yada. Whereas men, as we discussed earlier, typically date down. We're not looking for as many things in a partner as, say, a woman does, you know what I mean? And it's just, I think a lot of it has just come down to feminism. I think also just a cultural shift over time as well. I feel like the balance is a little bit skewed. I feel like females now have the power and men are like kind of like this. Whereas before, as we all know, men always had the power since the end of time for centuries and centuries. So obviously there was going to be an imbalance somewhere along the line.
Oops, my bad.
And women were going to fight back, which is, it's expected, you know what I mean? So but then in doing that, when the men were up here...
Terminal_Lance donated $69. Share 1, 25k off a 300k house will lower your payment about $150 per month and raise taxes. During Trump, the interest rates were under 3%, which means saving over $700 per month. Hashtag 304 math, hashtag Common Core.
Quick response to that?
Well, I mean, if it's hard right now to save up the money to even put a down payment on the house, at least at that point you have your foot in the door. So it might be a little bit more money at the long run, but at least you're putting your foot in the door. And you don't have to get a $300,000 house. You can get a condo or something else, but I digress.
Yeah.
Politics aren't my
back to you then.
thing.
Yeah, I think property investments are the best way to build money in today's society, to be honest. But that's a topic day for another discussion. But back to what I was saying. So since the end of time, like, I feel like men have always had the power in relationships, in life, in everything for as longest time, up until, I'd say, maybe the last 30 years with the wave of feminism. Women kind of like started fighting back, and naturally so, like, you know, but they had no rights for so long. Like, goddamn, like women couldn't even vote, like in like lots of countries only like 30-40 years ago. So it was a little bit skewed too much. And then obviously feminism came in, and then women came up here, men came down here. But now, as that's happened, like, you know, relationships are failing, more marriages are ending in divorce, and it's always like 80% of the divorces are initiated by women leaving the men, and all these kind of things that our parents and our grandparents didn't really think of at the time. So I feel like in time it's going to be more of a balance, and men are, I feel like it's already happening now. I feel like men are slowly starting to fight back and have like their boundaries and all this kind of stuff. And I feel like we're almost going to be equal, and then it's going to be a place with like an equilibrium.
I don't necessarily think relationships are failing now because of feminism. I feel like back then women didn't really have a choice to leave. Like, what were you going to do? Get a job? You couldn't get a job. You couldn't vote. You couldn't hold a credit card. You couldn't buy a house. Like, you kind of had to rely on the man in your life.
Well,
if you didn't have a good family.
I feel like there's less like men being men today, and there's more women that are also being more masculine, more men that are being more feminine, and because of this, it's causing like a disruption in the family unit. You know, the original family unit, the man was the man, and, you know, looked after and provided for the family, the children, the wife. And now I feel like, you know, my conspiracy theories for this are wild, but I feel like the government has like done this in a way to put women into the working world, to raise taxes so that the men and the women can get taxed. More money goes back to the government. The household is disturbed. More women are online shopping and spending money away, and it's just more money is just being plugged into the government, all whilst like disrupting the family unit of men and women, which is causing problems. Problems cause divorce rates are going up. Divorce rates are higher now than they were 20, 30, 40 years ago. So there's obviously a problem, and I feel like there's going to be a rebound, and I feel like eventually it's just going to be equal with men and women, because, you know, men can't be all the way up here and women down here, and women can't be here. It just has to be equal. So I feel like when that happens, and I feel like we're not far away from that. I think in the next, I'm gonna call it now, I think in the next maybe 10 to 20 years, shit's going to change a lot. Men are already fighting back. There's a reason these podcasts exist, Fresh and Fit, whatever podcast. There's a big reason why these podcasts exist. They wouldn't have been around or survived 30 years ago, and that's facts. Because a lot of men are sick and tired. A lot of men are fed up. So I feel like, you know, with this pullback, it's going to maybe help women understand like the problems that average men face. And I feel like eventually it's going to just be equal.
I have a question for you. Do you think feminism gave women a sense of entitlement?
I think the original wave of feminism and what feminism stands for was actually a really, really good thing. I think feminism in its core rights was an incredible thing. I really do. I feel like women deserve to vote. I feel like women deserve to drive cars. I feel like women deserve the basic human rights as men do, and I feel like it's wrong.
What feminism is now.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So leading on to what I was about to say, I feel like now it's skewed a little bit too much, and the definition of what feminism is has been completely changed to disrespecting men, downplaying men's efforts, and it's just been completely skewed on the opposite side. And it's like, you know, women hating on men fighting back and getting upset at women, and it's sad because it's just literally it's just disrupted the family unit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas like men need women and women need men. Like we need each other. One can't exist without the other. So I feel like eventually in time people will feel this, and I feel like, you know, it's only a matter of time, to be honest.
It's like it will heal eventually.
Yeah, I think women are going to get over hating men, and men are probably going to get over fighting back with women, trying to prove themselves. And it's just, I feel like it's going to be equal, but it's going to be a bit of time because, like I said, since the end of time, the power balance of men compared to women has been greatly skewed, like huge. You know what I mean? Like, 100 years ago, women weren't allowed to work, vote. Only 100 years ago. In how long have we been on this earth? How long have humans been around for?
About, I think.
Not even, you know what I mean? Not even if you
years.
think about how long humans have been, like our ancestors, Neanderthals, everything, since the end of time, since all caveman running around, like the man pulling the woman's hair, throwing him into the cave, going out, hunting with spears, getting animals. Like, since the end of time, men have just had the power. So because of that, like this feminism thing, it's going to be strong and it's going to last for a while. But when it evens out, shit's going to go back to normal. I truly believe it. And I think women want to be feminine. I feel like they craved being feminine for the right man. And I feel like men, you know, deep down, their inert nature is to be masculine, but this shit's just getting like translated. It's just all getting jumbled with what you see now, you know, like men afraid of being men, women afraid of being women, and men are getting labeled like toxic masculine for things like going to the gym and, you know, like wanting to work out or wanting to play sports or, you know, just like wanting to self-improve. It's such a strange phenomenon that I'm witnessing because I've been in like both eras, you know, like you guys got to remember I'm almost 40 years old, so I've seen like around when my time, like when I was like up and running, like around 18, it was so different. Like girls would literally just come up and have conversations with you, and there wasn't anything expected like a date or anything like that, and you could literally just take a girl on a date to like McDonald's at like such a young age and nothing was thought of it. And now if like something like that's mentioned even to like an 18-year-old girl, they'd just be like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? So I take it back to originally what I was saying, like the top 20% of men are being fought for by 100% of women.
Some analysis.